Bravo, Showstopper. Within the rolling fields and sprawling forests of Aria, the Everfest Carnival travels from village to village, bringing joy to the hearts of all who are visited by this massive travelling circus. Bravo was born into the Val d'Or of the Everfest Carnival, a group who specialised in animal acts and displays of strength, and yet Bravo was far more interested in the tales of Mela. A troupe of bards, seers and storytellers, one of the Mela elders took a shine to the young Bravo, sharing the legends of Aria with the bright-eyed boy. Her tales stoked a deep love for the legends of old and a yearning for adventure. Many years later, two members of his troupe appeared at Bravo's tent door. They told him that they had received word from an old friend, calling them to the fractal scar, far to the south of Aria. Enchanted by his dreams of adventure and the legends of old, he invited himself along on their quest. While their journey began smoothly, as they progressed to the south, they felt an increasing sense of urgency. Finally, they reached their destination, a small village near the fractal scar, which also stood as the reason for their call to arms. The village was decimated, buildings charred, the smell of burning flesh still lingering in the air. The horrors they saw that day drove them forward, until at last they reached their destination. To the east, the wayfarers had taken over a small blacksmith's hut, one of the few buildings left standing. As people arrived to offer help, they passed on information, directing them to where their help was needed most. It was from one of the wayfarers that Bravo first learned of dregs. Humanoid figures with bloated, rotting bodies. Their faces were a mass of melted, discoloured skin, dripping the length of their bony, twisted limbs. After giving Bravo, Gawain and Morgan some advice on how to kill these creatures, he told them where to go next, a village to the east that had been heavily damaged by attacks. For months, they travelled along the edges of the fractal scar, hunting down dregs and helping others who had stepped up to the task. Even as his heart grew weary, Bravo began to grow accustomed to this new way of life, learning to fight in true battles, hunting dregs alongside his companions. Bravo developed skills necessary to keep himself alive and eliminate the creatures that threatened his home. The trio were on their way back to the Wayfarer's base when they came across a messenger bearing urgent news. A massive swarm of dregs had been located, travelling further into Aria, and a call was going out to anyone within range to help take down the swarm. The trio immediately changed course and made their way to the meeting point, arriving to find a small crowd preparing themselves for battle. The collection of people gathered in the valley were a strange bunch, few among them looking experienced with combat such as this, yet all of them stood ready to fight, their weapons at the ready. The moment that a defender at the head of the valley called to arms, the entire makeshift army leapt into action, following him over the hill and toward the village to face the swarm head on. The dregs moved faster than Bravo had expected, moving quickly despite their bent and twisted limbs. As the battle began in earnest, he lifted his trusty hammer overhead, slamming one dreg after another into the cold earth. Yet the dregs continued to come, and slowly the swarm began to overwhelm them. As Bravo wrenched his weapon from a dreg's skull, he turned to find another two bearing down on him, too quick for him to draw his hammer in time. In that instant, Bravo suddenly felt the world tilt sideways. The world took on a bright, hazy glare, an unnatural heat coursing through his veins. His hammer burst into a bright glow, radiant and shining. Instinctually, he swung his weapon in a wide arc, and the mallet collided with the bottom of the dreg's jaw. Its skull immediately exploded, fragments of bone dropping to the grass at its feet. Bravo charged at the other dreg on his left, taking its head off its shoulders with a single swing, and a sickening liquid crunch. Dreg after dreg collapsed to the ground, bodies dropping to encircle Bravo as he made short work with the creatures around him, and before long the last dreg fell. The cheers of victory echoed through the valley. In the coming days, they helped to search for the remaining dregs, but with the majority of the force dealt with, the defenders slowly began to make their way home. Before long, Bravo and his companions returned to the Everfest, bringing news of their victory to share with the members of the Legendarium. Even as he greeted his troop, his mind drifted back to the battles and the creatures they faced. Bravo had heard rumours of changes happening across Aria, and words of other threats beside the dregs. He refused to let his home fall victim to the destruction that he had seen, vowing to find a way to not only protect Everfest, but all of Aria.